Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu today we have Dimension Drive, the dual battlefield shoot 'em up from Two Awesome Studio. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. Dimension Drive is a title that just released in early access, but it's been one I've been looking forward to for quite some time. It brings some interesting new mechanics to the world of shoot 'em ups. Those mechanics we'll go ahead and show off first in the Multiverse bi-weekly stage. So this stage is of course updated bi-weekly. It's a score attack where we're competing against others for position on the leaderboard. So throughout the course of Dimension Drive, you're playing the character of Jack, who's the last known survivor of her race. We have arrived to a new battle zone in another dimension of the multiverse. The Ashes Jewels are fighting their dimension wars everywhere. And her AI companion, Vera. Yes, try to check here every 2 weeks for a new mission and give them hell. We pilot the dimensional starfighter, the Manticore. And right off the bat, you might notice that the screen is split in two. So the unique mechanic that Dimension Drive brings to the table is a teleportation mechanic, where we're jumping back and forth between the two sides of the battlefield. The one side that we're actually exist on is, of course, represented by our starfighter, but the other side, we also have a red dot to indicate our position in that world, that dimension. So we have some idea of when we teleport where we'll be teleporting to. In addition to those, the ability to teleport between the two battlefields, we have the ability to, of course, shoot, and we can also activate our inverse drive, which basically turns the ship around, allowing us to point behind us and slows down our movement, which in certain situations can make teleporting back and forth between the two worlds significantly easier. There are several power-ups that we can collect in our journeys through the multiverse. There are the shield power-ups, which basically act as shields protecting us from a hit of damage. Weapon power-ups, which upgrade our shot from our base shot to 4-way. And there are also data cubes. There are 3 data cubes per stage. Gathering them all gives us extra points as well as more story throughout the course of our run. So the game works on a checkpoint system where we're aiming to reach new checkpoints. Once we hit a checkpoint, should we die, that checkpoint is where we'll respawn. So here we're at the boss of our multiverse stage. So this boss is unique in that it really only opens up its outer shields on one side, so we're jumping back and forth to get ourselves into position to actually damage the core. Oops, ran out of shields there. So there is an energy management system in use in Dimension Drive. That energy management system, you have bars on both the battlefields on the top, and as you fire, your energy depletes. The only way to regenerate the energy is to teleport to the other side of the battlefield. Then the side that you were firing on, the energy will regenerate quickly over time that you're in the other dimension. We do get a low energy warning as well when our energy falls below 30%. That also has implications for our score as well. So as we defeat enemies, our score multiplier, which is indicated in the middle there, increases. But if we take damage, or if we happen to let our energy fall below 30%, the score multiplier resets itself to 1. So energy management is very critical in this title if you're looking for high scores. And the boss of the multiverse is defeated. Yeah, that was a good fight. At this pace, you'll become the best pilot in the multiverse. The Multiverse Week 1 completed. Moving on, we're going to look at one of the campaign stages to show off a few more mechanics the game has. We'll be playing World 2-2 as it introduces some new mechanics. Throughout the course of the game, there are cutscenes between the worlds. Since we are jumping right into the middle of it, we'll skip past that cutscene. Some of these machines will need activation. Yes, look out for the green switches. Right there, they tell us of what we're looking for as far as this new stage is concerned. The switches aren't actually green initially, though. They're more reddish. Then, as we touch them or shoot them, they change color. Now, sometimes the switches are on the same side of the multiverse that we happen to be on as the door that they open, but other times, as in the case right there, the switch was on the right side of the multiverse, and we opened a door on the left side. That opens up for some unique puzzle possibilities where you're having to correctly navigate through the stages to move forward. We also have sections like that where we're jumping back and forth between the stages to avoid lasers and taking damage. It's important to know where you happen to be at in the two sides to avoid taking unnecessary damage. There's situations where I get very confused, though, and will, throughout the course, alternate on the wrong side repeatedly, as my mind is just blown, and I even forget where I'm at. And here we have some rotating platforms. Easy enough to avoid. We want to stay on the right side of the screen, as there's some lasers here. One that's right by the checkpoint. That's a little bit cruel, as I feel the checkpoint kind of obscures the laser itself. Now here we want to make sure we avoid those lasers. I was watching the side I wasn't on and ended up crashing into an obstacle. So, with the checkpoint system, when we do die, we are reset to the checkpoints. There are a total of 3 lives that you have available from the beginning of the stage. So we want to be careful not to get careless and die too often. In addition to that, if you're playing on normal, you do have the 4 shields that you start with, and you can replenish the shields throughout the course of your playthrough. If you're playing on the harder difficulties, of which there are 4 total, you might not necessarily have the shields. So here, we have to defeat a central core to open a gate. And we'll be able to finish the stage.
Low energy.
I did get a low energy warning there, so I'm not really managing my energy well between the 2 multiverses. We'll hop back for a second to recharge. So I really like what I see here with Dimension Drive. The teleportation mechanics that are present definitely would count as the best plus flavor. Although, I must say, it's mind-bending. There are always these situations where I feel that I'm just getting myself backwards as to the way I'm thinking through things. I'll need to be on one side to avoid damage, and I end up being completely on the other side. And once your mind is blown like that, it's hard to recover, and it's just a never-ending spiral until you die. But I love that. It's something that can be frustrating, yet so satisfying when you get it right and you're able to progress through the stage without any problems. That said, there's also the possibility for problem solving, puzzle solving, where you're determining like what's the best way to go through, activate this switch, get back to the other side, and get through in real time. That's not anything that a lot of shoot-em-ups can really do, especially with the kind of thought you would need for Dimension Drive here. Of course, there are situations like that where I'm always misthinking through things and teleporting too early or too late. I have very few minus flavors I would give this game. One I would say is the enemies do seem awfully tanky. And that the weapons just feel like they lack impact, for lack of a better way to put it. But where the game is still in development, it's possible we'll see some updates or changes to the weapons as time moves on.
Shield.
Oops, I forgot to teleport there. Overall, though, like, I love Dimension Drive. It's a great title that I have a hard time wrapping my mind around. So if you're looking for something that's unique and challenging, I definitely recommend giving this title a try. If not now, wait till it's a little bit further along in development or fully released, then try it then. But I guarantee you'll find something unique and interesting to try in this title. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and as always, I look forward to seeing you again next week.